Good morning from Disturbia on the 30th of May, 2024. Recently, the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, was here in Germany. He was in Dresden and Münster. He came to speak to a group of people, mostly young people in Dresden, on the anniversary, the 75th anniversary of the German Constitution. And then he went to Münster to get a peace prize. He received the Westfälische Prize. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Take a look at it, you can see that it looks like it's got horns on its head. This is just another one of my off-the-cuff ad hoc videos. I've always wondered about Macron. Look at the name, Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel, God with us, Macron. At first, it reminded me of My Crown, or even Ma Crone, because he's married to a woman who's, I think, 20 years older than he is. And very strange. The thing is about this French president, you know, France, if you think about it, is not really Hebrew. Hebrew is derived from Eber, E-B-E-R, and Eber was a son of Shem. And the word Europe is actually a derivative of this word Eber. Over time, vowels changed, consonants changed, the B changed to a V, sometimes the V went to a U, and out of Eber, you get Europe. And France, actually, you see, the Hebrews are German derivative speaking. What do I mean by that? All Hebrews speak a derivative. They're white, for one thing. And they speak a derivative of German. What are the derivatives of German? English is a Germanic language. Icelandic is a Germanic language. Gaelic, the Galileans spoke Gaelic, in my view. Germanic language. Dutch, Norwegian, Danish, Swedish, Afrikaans, German languages, German derivatives languages. And French is a Latin language. It's a so-called Romance language. And the thing is, you have the Hebrews and you have the Philistines. Back in the day, and there was the old hatred of the Philistines for the Hebrews. Of course, the Lord God commanded the Hebrews to drive out the evil from among them. And they didn't do it. And the evil began to rule over the Hebrews. And that's exactly how it is today. And then we have a scenario like this, where we have a Frenchman who is a Philistine, and a German, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, who is, I'm guessing, a Hebrew. I do not believe that he is of Esau. So what do we have here? We have a Philistine coming over into Germania, which is Germany, which is part of Europe. I do not consider France as part of Europe. I mean, if you've ever been to France and then you've gone over to Holland or Germany or Switzerland, you see that it's completely different. Completely different people. Everything's different there. And I mean, I was shocked when I first went to France. I was 17 years old. And I had had cancer, and we lived in Arizona, and I was on chemotherapy, and I was so run down on the chemotherapy that sores began to build in my mouth, and I couldn't eat because my mouth would bleed. And my mother had to take me in for blood transfusions, and I became delirious. And I'm guessing nobody ever really talked about it, but probably my mother called my grandparents who lived in Minnesota. My brother lived with them at the time and said, look, Chrissy's going to die. Come and pay your last respects, because they all came down post haste. And my grandma asked me, what would you like when you get better? What would you like to do? Is there anything that you'd like to have? And I said, yes, I'd like to go to Europe. I'd especially like to go to Germany. I didn't know anything about Germany being Assyria. I believed in God, but that was all. I didn't know anything about the Bible, really. And, of course, because I wasn't taught in church, and my grandma said, okay. And when I indeed did get better, and they stopped chemotherapy, my hair grew back, I continued school. In the summer of my 17th year, she and my grandma brought me over here to Europe. And we landed in London, Gatwick, I believe it was. And then we took a boat over to France. And I was appalled. I hated France. There's something about France that I never liked instinctively. In school, I wanted to learn Spanish because we lived in Arizona, and then we had a lot of Mexicans there. Otherwise, I probably would have taken German. But I thought that Spanish would have the most utility for me at the time, so that's what I learned. But like I say, when we went through France, we got Euro tickets, and we took the train through France down to Italy, and then back up through Switzerland and Germany, and then we went to visit, and Denmark, and then we went to visit our relatives in Norway. And I just thought, no, France is a country that I don't need to go back to. They just had, I thought, really kind of strange habits, very dirty, and then Germany, completely different. And so here you've got this Frenchman and this German, a Philistine and probably a Hebrew, or let's say representing Europe, which is Hebrew. And then you've got this horned award here between them both of them laughing, Steinmeier giving him a knowing glance, and the same vice versa. And the thing is this, they were in Dresden. And Dresden is a state belonging to Saxon. They have Sachsen, they have Sachsen-Anhalt, and they have Niedersachsen. And what did God tell Abraham? In Isaac shall thy seed be called. And these are Isaac's sons, the Saxons. And so you have this Philistine here receiving a reward. Okay, this was in Münster. But he held the speech in Dresden in Sachsen. And the thing about Sachsen, as I said, is in Isaac shall thy seed be called. You've got Macron, which to me is the new Charlemagne. And what Charlemagne did was he continued on in the tradition of Caesar, who was also a Philistine. I'm not sure exactly where Charlemagne, what his origins were. I looked him up, and I looked here and there, and it says, well, he wasn't German and he wasn't French, he was Frankish. Well, what's that? I'm just going to assume that he was a Philistine from Rome. He was the head of the Roman Church, and he had very, very many of the children of Jacob Israel, of Isaac's sons in Saxon, destroyed. Here it's called the Battle of Verdun. The Battle of Verdun. He said, you're either going to convert to Catholicism, or you're going to be killed, and many were killed in that slaughter. And here we've got the new Charlemagne in Germany talking about Europe. It just seems really like history is going to be repeating itself. You know, the thing is, this Macron, he received the Charlemagne Prize, I believe, in 2018. And now he's receiving another Peace Prize. Peace Prize. With his horned idol. And you have to ask yourself, if they're always talking about war and how we need to defend ourselves and how we need to send in tanks, why is he receiving a peace prize? You know, these forces that should not be, these kings and rulers of the earth, they live a different existence than we do. You see, they rule over us, and they interface between the fallen angels and mankind, and every once in a while one of them gets a little prize from the Fallen Angel Academy, and they tell the rest of us how to live and what we're going to do. And Macron is very, very much for war, as far as I understand. Here it says he received the International Peace Prize of Westphalia. And you see, this all to me is just a very symbolic ritual of the beginning of the birth pangs for the children of Jacob Israel living in Assyria, which will be perpetrated upon them by Philistines and Esau. I mean, look at these faces. Just really, really telling. And how they just celebrate one another and their greatness and how smart they are. And how they're fooling us. You know, they want to bring back the draft. They want to send the children of Europe over into Russia, which is, of course, in my opinion, it is Slavic and it is related to Judah. Judah was sent into, he wasn't really sent because Esau came and the people of Judah were delivered up the whole captivity unto Edom. And Esau took over both Israel and Judah. Amos 1, Ezekiel 25, starting around midway, Ezekiel 35 and 36. And many of the children of Judah were then sold to Greece. Many went up through Turkey. Hungarian is a Turkish language. Finnish is a Turkish language. These are the children, I believe, and the relatives of Judah. And then you've got the Slavs, you've got the Serbs. This is why this ethnic cleansing has always been taking place. And it continues to this very day. You know, I was thinking about all these diseases that the children of Jacob Israel get. And you have to wonder, do these diseases, do they befall children of Esau as well? And another thing I wanted to mention, I'm going to turn this off now, is that there's a new law in the United States, and I didn't know about it until just yesterday. I was watching a video and I found out about it. You've got this IHRA, which is the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. And they have decided in the United States that anybody who says that the Jews crucified Jesus, that's against the law. You're a criminal. You cannot speak the truth. You see, whereas the Jews in their Talmud are Antichrist, and they're Antichrist, and they don't make any bones about it, you cannot tell the truth, which really is almost tantamount to actually outlawing the Bible, which is what they're after. I'm just going to put in here, Jews did not crucify Christ, and see what I get. I was going to do 2 videos, and I decided just to do 1 here. This is what's happening, you know, when you see these people getting prizes. I guess recently, you know, Macron got the Charlemagne Prize, and I think it was 2018, and now he's got the Westfälische Prize this year, and this year Zelensky got the Charlemagne Prize. Why are these people getting all these prizes for peace when they're at war? Here you've got, did the Jews kill Jesus? Calling out the unchristian deicide libel. You see this, it's here in the Jerusalem Post. They're trying to tell you that the Messiah was not crucified by Esau, but rather by the Romans, because Esau gave them up to the Romans. Well, I'll tell you what. Pilate said 3 times, I see no fault in this man. And he was desperate. He said, how about we take Barabbas? How about we kill him? We know that he's a thief and a murderer. No, crucify Jesus, crucify him, crucify him. Here you see, look at what they're writing here. Christians of all denominations. Oh dear, now my camera's giving. Oh, I can't even get it. Oh, you see, I cannot even get a... I'm just going to have to shut it off because it's going wacko on me. That's what happens sometimes. When I'm trying to zero in on truth, it just goes berserk and I can't get a focus. Christians of all denominations have waged a battle over the last couple of... Nope, I can't get it any clearer than this. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. This is proof, folks, I'm telling you. Over the last couple of generations since the Holocaust, to ensure that this is expunged from our theology. What is expunged from our theology? Holocaust? Does Holocaust belong to theology? It is important to stress that anti-Semitism is a disease that has affected so many different societies throughout the millennia. However, Christian anti-Semitism is one of the oldest... What are they saying? It's all twisted around. It's all turned on its head, the whole truth. Christian anti-Semitism. What about Christian Zionism? Most Christians are Zionists, I thought. Christian anti-Semitism is one of the oldest manifestations, even if it is most contrary to the Bible. What is he doing? He's mixing things up. There is no truth here at all. Just like reading Paul in Romans, it's just mixed up. The Christian scriptures refer to Jews as the root and the Gentiles as the branches. So attacking the root should make no sense, as it also affects Christians who obey the word of God. What? This is a Jew. This is the son of Esau writing this, isn't it? Let's see, what's his name? Scott Phillips. Well, who knows? Lots of times Esau will take on British and Irish-sounding names just to cover up his true identity. Why is he calling him the Christian scriptures? Let's see if we can get a... Nope, no focus. Still no focus. Why is he calling it the Christian scriptures? They'll call it the Christian scriptures and then the Hebrew Bible. You see that the Hebrew Bible is the Old Testament and the Christian scriptures are the New Testament. It does not say that Jews are the root. It says that David is the root, and David is of Ephraim, and Ephraim is of Joseph, and Joseph is of Israel. Gentiles is not even a word. Gentiles is a catch-all, meaning anybody who is not of Esau. So anyway, we've got here the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. etc., etc. But now all I really wanted to do was draw your attention to the fact that there's a new law, and you are not allowed to say that the Jews crucified Jesus without running the risk of being demonized as anti-Semite, when in fact Esau is not a Semite at all. Esau mixed his blood, and we are the Semites. You see how he's just twisted everything around. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you about the French President Macron and what they're planning. You know, anytime they're delivering any kind of a prize, they do this amongst themselves and make us believe that they mean something that's different than what we think. But really, when they say peace, peace, there is no peace, and war is probably shortly on the horizon.